are you now the ex of somebody with BPD and you have codependency, and wherever you are in the stages and phases of surviving a BPD relationship breakup, which means therapy, codependency recovery, and family of origin work, inner child healing work, and healing from the relationship, among many other moving pieces of this recovery that you need. Are you suffering because you feel like the borderline cast you in the role of enemy? This happens because it's the dichotomy of the all or nothing, the black, the white. So when you've been split to the devaluation, the relationship is over, it doesn't all happen like that necessarily, boom, boom, but it can. Or you were ghosted, or even you had to break up with them. So many people with codependency are struggling with feeling like the borderline has cast you as an enemy. And they have and they haven't. And what do I mean by that? Well, they have cast you as an enemy, as the object other parent representation of the wounding parent. What does that mean compared to you being cast the enemy? It's not really all about you at all. So if you're non-borderline codependent, and you're like, but I can't stand, because I hear this from clients a lot in different ways, and I've been working with people for 31 years out here to help you. If you resonate with me, I'm out here to work with you, should you so choose. So many times people are like, but I can't stand that he or she, the ex of BPD, believes that I'm a horrible person. Because I did everything I could. I didn't understand their problems in the beginning. Now, people will say, I have compassion for them even. But I didn't know what was going on. Why am I the bad guy now? Or, quote, bad woman, but bad guy kind of, vernacular for males and females in these situations. Well, this is really obvious, right, if I say, but it's very codependent of you. Because yes, it happened to you personally and up close, right? You are the one who got that dumped on you. The blame, the guilt, the fear, the obligation, the abuse of it all. When for the person with BPD, it's a repetition compulsion cycle of early childhood trauma, and they aren't, they don't see you in idealization, and they don't see you as the bad guy enemy that they cast you in the role of, because it's not really you. It's you as they experience you, not seeing you for you, as they experience you as the object other representation of wounding parent in the repetition compulsion cycle of the childhood trauma from the wounding parent. Could be two wounding parents, but it's often mother, and for many people who go on to be diagnosed with BPD, it's often a cluster B mother. Borderline, or mine was BPD, NPD comorbid, dark shadow father, various iterations. But here's the thing. So you're feeling so bad. So many people with codependency are feeling so bad, if you can relate to this, that you are seen as the borderline's enemy now. You're like the bad guy. Come on. I didn't do this. I still care about them. I still want it to work out. Yeah, you want to go back and get those great feelings again. You need to heal from codependency and the relationship through therapy to not keep going through different iterations of this. So this iteration is called, well, now I'm the bad guy, and he or she made me out to be the enemy, and I can't stand it because it's not who I really am. I didn't do that. This is where people with codependency have to realize that as much as you went through that, and that's your experience, and of course that's traumatizing and painful, it wasn't even about you. And then for people with codependency, you need to realize how, yeah, there was something that happened between you and this person with BPD, for sure. Lots of things, right? But your repetition, the codependent repetition compulsion of externalizing out in your reenactment of your adverse to traumatic childhood experience. And some people when I start working with clients, often they're like, I had great parents. I don't know, like, where this is going to go. And you'd be surprised. Because you don't have to have a horrible parent to get woundedness in childhood that creates codependency. There's often relational difficulties in it, but it's different for everyone. But so it wasn't even really all about you, and you're still holding that like it's yours, because for people with codependency, what does that represent in your unconscious mind, if you're not aware of it yet? Represents some woundedness, some type of woundedness or trauma from your childhood, wherein you were seen as, quote, not good enough, unquote, by a parent, where you, or family of origin, where you were left feeling like you had to do all this stuff to try to, quote, win the love of a parent, unquote. How is that much different, really, when you look at it, to what you've been doing with a person with borderline personality? And guess what? You failed twice, didn't you? No, if you're a codependent, you didn't fail at all. You got wounded in childhood. You weren't allowed to express your feelings. You weren't seen. You weren't heard. Or there was intermittent reinforcement, an emotionally unavailable parent, a plethora of reasons, and then some, why people develop codependency. So that wasn't your fault, and you were a kid. And guess what? It's not your fault that the borderline casts you in the role of enemy at the end of these situationships. Of course it's going to feel personal, and it's going to seem very personal. It's not. They're not even seeing you. They're in a repetition compulsion cycle of externalize and dump because they're in agony, and that's just an explanation, not an excuse. And it's not even about you. You are seen and experienced by them in a semi-dissociative state as the object other representation of wounding parent. Just like you were seen in the beginning in idealization as the object other representation of good parent never had. It never really was about you for them. People with BPD are wounded, so I say this with the greatest of respect for people with BPD who are still untreated or not significantly enough treated yet. They don't see others for who they are. They are very much without a self. They're very egocentric. And I don't mean that to be narcissistic like a narcissist. There's an element of narcissism in BPD, but I won't go on about it here. I'll just say, for the person with untreated BPD and the world of agony that they are in from their childhood trauma, and they don't even consciously know it most of the time, unless they get significant treatment, they are all about them, and all about the defenses, and all about the protection. Because every time they have significant experiences in their here and now life, especially trying to relate to other, they don't see other. They don't really. They experience other as the object other parent representation for either the good or the bad, the idealization or the devaluation. You're never really seen and you're never really heard. And for so many people with codependency, this mirrors childhood experience that created your codependency in the first place. So if you're just, really still in that suffering place because you feel like they believe you're an evil person, you're externalizing out something that has to do with your psychology, your childhood trauma, your issues that you need to heal in a therapy process. Like, I'm out here to work with you if you resonate with me, because for codependence, that's an externalization out of something you've taken in that the borderline was externalizing out that wasn't about you. And it triggers and it hits a core wound in people with codependency. I hope that gives you food for thought. You can really get into therapy and work all this through, and you'll get the closure you need, and you'll get better feelings than you ever got in idealization by the person with BPD. And you can really learn through therapy and the process and healing and recovery that you just won't be consumed or thinking about the ex anymore at all. So that's what people with codependency owe themselves today. Stop focusing on the BPD now. They cast you in the role of enemy. Now you're focusing on that. And you're like, but I'm not a bad person. Really, I'm not. That's your inner child. to a parent going, but I'm not a bad boy, I'm not a bad girl, why are you doing this? Why can't you hear me? Think about it, because codependents are externalizing this out. That's why it matters so much to you. Yes, it matters because the ex said that, but that is not but like this much of the depth of your pain.